Hi, this is Tom Nash at Rugby Uncovered. This week we're talking to Rachel Malcom, captain of Scotland and Loughborough Lightning. Hi, Rachel.
Hi there.
Thank you very much for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm going to start with the Malcom family. You and Donald and James, your brothers, you've all played the game at the highest level. Did the Malcoms have good sporting genes going back a couple of generations, or was it more your parents and your teachers' encouragement when you were kids?
A mixture probably. My dad was a very good rugby player in his day, and he's probably the big driving force behind my brothers and my sister and me being quite sporty. But I also went to a school that had quite a strong sporting backbone, where I was kind of supported through hockey back then by very good coaches, and have been very lucky that all through my kind of sports career I've had incredible coaches at every stage who've really pushed me on. So that's probably been a big influence for me.
You mentioned it. You played top level hockey at various age groups for Scotland. Did that come before rugby then?
Yeah, so I played junior international hockey for a couple of years. So I played hockey all of my kind of school years and through university. And I took up rugby after I left university, in fact, while I played for Lichfield Ladies for my first couple of seasons.
Oh, Lichfield. Okay. So your rugby career has been based exclusively in England since at full level.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I played the first 2 seasons at Lichfield. And then obviously with the restructuring of the Premiership to the Premier 15s, I moved across to Loughborough Lightning, and I've been there for 3 seasons. So I played 2 seasons at Lichfield and 3 at Lightning. So yeah, all down in the Midlands for my whole rugby career.
You're captain of Loughborough Lightning, you're captain of Scotland, you lecture at Nottingham Trent University. It sounds insanely busy. Is that a positive for you? Or are you someone who's unbearable to be around if you don't have this mad agenda?
I am relatively busy, but in women's sport at the moment, most women are very busy with the nature of semi-professional to professional, that a lot of people are working and balancing a lot. And I think it's just a case of organising your time well. I think, the captaincies are a massive honour, but they don't change a huge amount in terms of the time demand, as you'd be there for training, etc. anyway. And yeah, I've just always been someone that is quite busy and has quite a lot going on, and I quite enjoy that. And I don't find, the having the captaincy at Loughborough and Scotland much of a chore. It's very much something that I enjoy and I love doing. I love having that responsibility and leading the girls. That, it's not something I kind of see as keeping me too busy. It's just, I don't know, just part of life, I guess.
The key to that, I guess, is what happens on the pitch and how you motivate your teammates.
Yeah, to an extent, but I personally believe, a huge part of leading is what happens off the pitch. Yes, the making the decisions and the leading by example on the pitch is extremely important, but I actually think, the relationships you build with your teammates and with your management are so important to build respect, but also to understand what makes them tick and how to get the best out of them. And I think having that understanding and having that relationship allows you to have difficult conversations or help players when they need help. So it's a bit of a balance, to be honest, between the on-pitch and off-pitch stuff, I'd say.
I'm interested in the rugby pyramid in Scotland. The Scottish Rugby's Girls Player Development Hub programme for girls 16 to 18, and
yes,
sessions with leading coaches in various parts of Scotland.
Yes.
Girls of 12 upwards are encouraged to talk to their local club if they're not already playing at school. And then there's mini rugby.
Mm-hmm.
Am I correct in saying that Scottish Rugby has quite a tricky job in selling the sport to girls?
It did do, but I'd say, that in recent years it's actually kind of accelerated massively. We've probably got more girls now playing than we've ever had before, and the uptake is huge in comparison to where it was a few years ago. So I think maybe, yes, a few years ago we were struggling to encourage girls to play, but I think with the increase in visibility and opportunities, like you say, Scottish Rugby are now making it quite easy for girls to try the sport. And I think having more visible role models as well has helped that. And I think, the media team and Scottish Rugby Union have done a brilliant job of encouraging that. And as I say, the uptake from girls in particular is huge at the moment in Scottish rugby. So I think it probably was a challenge, but it's one that they've risen to and are excelling in now.
So the obvious question that maybe the direct competition to rugby union is football. Are you finding that girls are now choosing rugby over football at a fairly early age?
I don't necessarily have the stats to make that comparison fairly. So I couldn't really comment on what's happening in football, but all I know is that, more girls definitely are getting the opportunity to play rugby. I know when I was young and choosing a sport, I didn't have the opportunity to try rugby. But I know now that at, what would be my local club, they now have a girls section. So I think, with the increase in opportunities, which potentially were there already for football from years and years and years, we now have similar visibility and similar opportunity for rugby. So I don't know the exact comparisons, but I definitely think there is much greater opportunity.
Brilliant. Yeah, that is progress. I was going to say, you made your full international debut 4 years ago, almost.
Yes.
What has changed within the Scottish women's squad since then?
I think the biggest change has probably been the number of matches which we play. So a massive kind of way in which teams of kind of an elite level can improve is to compare themselves against other teams of a similar or better level, so pushing themselves against as high competition as possible. And when I first started, we didn't have a huge amount of opportunity or exposure to playing elite level teams. So I think my first match in a Scotland jersey was a World Cup qualifier, which is obviously a very high profile, high stakes game. Whereas now, the girls that are coming into the squad a bit newer, we have, from the support of the union, we're now getting warm-up matches, autumn tests, etc., which is now allowing those girls who are coming into the squad to get exposure to high-level rugby and all that it brings, both from a psychological point of view, but also a physical point of view, getting that exposure. So then when we come to, your World Cup qualifiers, your Six Nations, they've got that experience behind them. And I think that's been the big change that we've seen is that support from our union to get that exposure, and it's been brilliant for the growth of the squad.
And it's that much tougher. They have to be that much more imaginative and organised in a country where the population is comparatively small.
Yeah, I'd like you say, we haven't got as big a player pool to choose from necessarily as other squads, and I think a massive thing for Scottish Rugby is to keep making our women's squad more and more competitive. And this season in particular, we've had a really, really high level of competition across every single position on the park. And I think that's exactly what we need to push on and move forward. And especially in a sport like rugby, where you're going to pick up injuries, long-term injuries, to have a bit more depth in every position, to have people that have the experience of playing international rugby to then step in and keep the standard of the team high. And I think we've seen that this season, for example, losing Jenny Maxwell, for example, to a long-term injury. And we had Mary McDonald step up at scrum half, who's not played a huge amount of international rugby, but she's been in and around the squad in competition for a long period of time. And she took her opportunity and she did a brilliant job for Scotland. So I think having more and more of these types of players come in and increase the competition has been brilliant for the squad.
That's excellent. You are an environmental physiology PhD. I have no idea what that is, but
I essentially look at the impact that performing team sports exercise in the heat has on our performance. So I'm an easier way of putting it is probably I'm exercise physiologist.
Okay. And long term, would you like to return to that, or do you hope to stay in the game?
So I still work full time. So I'm a full time lecturer where I still conduct research. So I'm a lecturer in sports science, applied sports science, and I'm still conducting research similar to what I did during my PhD. So I still do that alongside my rugby currently, and plan to for the foreseeable as well. So
you live somewhere between Nottingham Trent University and Loughborough, I guess.
Yes, I live pretty much directly in between the two. So it's I'm probably closer to work, so I'm about 5 minutes from work and about 20 minutes from Loughborough. So it works out pretty well in terms of managing to balance the various aspects of life.
Sure, you're a busy woman. What is your Instagram handle, Rach?
It is Rach, RACHM2391. I am on Twitter. It's RACH_Malcom.
Rachel, thanks so much.
Lovely.
We will speak again soon, I hope.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much.
You've been listening to Rugby Uncovered. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to your company next time.